friends, welcome back to the Common Sense Grandma. My name is Michelle. I hope all of my fellow mamas and grandmas had a wonderful Mother's Day. I certainly did. 3 out of our 4 kids were here. One was actually out of the country, so could not be here, but it's always such a blessing when we are able to get together with our friends and celebrate mamas. Now, in fact, let me show you this. My youngest got me this. It says Grandma's Kitchen, where memories are made and grandchildren are spoiled. And she goes, "Oh Mom, you can just use the other side." And I said, "I'm not going to use this. This is decoration for my videos. I just have to figure out where I'm going to put it." But today we are going to talk about how we can fill our pantries with healthy ingredients, things that we need. And I'm going to talk a little bit about things I don't buy at the grocery store anymore, or that I never did actually buy at the grocery store, but ways that we can use up some things that maybe we have leftover of and how to turn them into something else. And one of those items is sitting right here. I thought I'll just go ahead and talk about it while it's on my mind. These are breadcrumbs that I made yesterday. And this is the last of a loaf of bread that I made yesterday also, because a few days ago I had made a loaf of bread and it wasn't my usual recipe. It was a different recipe. I thought, well, let me just try this. I'm kind of like that. I always like to try different things. And it came out very crumbly in the middle, partly because it called for a lot more flour. So it was a bigger ball of dough, let's say. And I put it in the regular size pan. I actually put it in my bigger pan. I have some of those Pullman pans, or I have the real long ones and then the regular size. And I baked it in the regular size, and it came up about this tall. It was crazy, and it was crumbly in the middle because I should have put it in a bigger pan. And I thought, well, I hate to throw this away. What can I do with it? And then I thought, well, let's make breadcrumbs. And so I made all of this. These are the 3-cup mason jars. They're actually my favorite mason jars to store things in. And it tastes so good. There's no extra oil in here. I just put them in the food processor and then put it in a big bowl and put some Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper. That was it. And I put quite a bit of seasoning, so they're very tasty. And then I put them in 2 big sheet pans in the oven, and I let them go like 6 or 7 minutes at a time at 350 just to dry them out. Now, I think I'm going to keep them in the freezer. My freezer here in the kitchen, the drawer pulls out, and there is a place there where these stack really nicely in there. So that's what I'm going to do with them. But you know, one of the things I was thinking about, it's not that we have to do everything homemade all the time, but something like this, I was making bread anyway. I made zucchini muffins and banana bread. It was actually banana applesauce bread because I had some applesauce I needed to use up. So I put that in there, and I thought, well, I'm in the kitchen anyway. I might as well do this. But some of the things that, we maybe have leftovers of, we don't know what to do with them, and you just end up throwing it away. I have to admit, I have been very wasteful in the past, especially with fruit and vegetables, or I should say vegetables. And so I'm working on my own little mission here of not wasting vegetables anymore. I actually haven't gone grocery shopping since last week, other than I did a few items the other day we needed for Mother's Day, our Mother's Day meal. Other than that, I haven't gone grocery shopping yet. I'm probably going to go tomorrow. But I wanted to use up what we have in the refrigerator first, and I'm surprised how empty it looks. And that means I have not spent any more money. But when I made that bread, and I thought, oh, normally I would just toss it. Or our Labrador loves to have toast in the morning with Daddy. And probably shouldn't do that because she's a big girl, but it's just her love language, is all Labrador's love language is food, and she knows how to play it up. But anyway, another thing that you can do with bread and get some leftovers out of it is I have one of these things here where you can make, it's like an Uncrustable. And I'll be honest, I made this a little while ago and there were 2 of them here. And there's only one when I came in the kitchen. I think the lab ate it. I don't know, I'm gonna have to ask my husband. But this is one I made a little while ago. You know, you can buy those Uncrustables in the freezer. Now, this bread is whole wheat bread, and it was a little difficult. And so I think next time I do this for the little granddaughters, and the older granddaughter likes them too, is I will use more of a white bread version. But all you do is, I got this on Amazon, I'll link it below. You just put the 1 slice of bread with a little bit of the filling, and then put the other bread that has the filling, and you just press down, and it seals it, as you can see here. It's sealed. I hope you can see that. This weekend, we are going to Irvine for the Parkinson's Walk. We do this every year. We've been going. This will probably be our 4th time or so. And we always picnic afterwards. My husband's family, his cousins, a lot of them are coming. And so we're going to have fun. And the little granddaughters are going to be there. So I thought, you know what? I will make them some Uncrustable sandwiches. By the way, it comes with this piece here. If you want to make, like, say, a different kind of sandwich, let's say you have cheese, lettuce, tomato, maybe some turkey, you can use this to cut it out and make it make it so everything fits properly. Now, what I was going to say about this, the reason I brought this up actually is when you press that down, you're going to have the crust, the outer crust. It's not part of the sandwich anymore. And so I thought, well, I could just use that, put it in a bag in the freezer, and then eventually make breadcrumbs or croutons. So that's, something that, that way I'm not wasting. But another thing I don't buy very often is salad dressing. This is ranch dressing. It's 1 cup of sour cream, a cup of mayonnaise, and then I put a little bit of milk. I don't have any buttermilk. I have buttermilk powder. This smells so good, but I put a lot of seasonings in here, a lot of herbs, things like that. And it's still not perfect, the recipe. I've tried a lot of different recipes. I don't use the ranch packet because when you read those ingredients, there are some things in there I don't think that we should have. Same with breadcrumbs. That's why I know exactly what's in here because I made this bread. There's no preservatives. There isn't anything in here that is not good to eat. It's all, it's all good to eat. And since I didn't cook it in oil on the stove, there's no extra oil other than the 2 tablespoons that was in the big loaf of bread. So I don't mind that at all. But something I think that we need to talk about is being financially responsible with our grocery money. I have been blessed the last however many years to where, yes, I had a budget, but it was very loose when it came to groceries. I could pretty much buy, within reason, whatever I wanted or needed. And now that we're on a different kind of income, I have to think about it a lot more. But really, I think that with our groceries, that is a responsibility. If you're the one who does the shopping or manages the money, that is something that we really need to think about. And when you're buying packets of things that not only do they not have good ingredients in there, but you can make it so much less, whether it's taco seasoning or just so many things. Yes, I know in my other grocery haul, I had pancake mix. I'll admit, I do have pancake mix. But since I redid my pantry a few weeks ago, it has made it to where I know exactly what I have, and I can make so many things because now I know what's there. And I don't have, it's not so cluttered. It's one of those feelings where I feel like it's less is more because it's not so cluttering my brain. I don't know what to do. There's just so much stuff there, so many different things. And I think sometimes when we cut back a little bit, especially of those purchases, let's say a box of chips that are already in packages that you send with your kids to school. I remember growing up, that's kind of when those had come out when I was in school, and we always brought our lunch to school, and I wanted that bag of Lay's potato chips so bad, and my mom would not do that. She would buy the big bag and portion them out in plastic bags, and I did the same thing. And when you look at the pricing difference, it's huge because you're paying for packaging. But when you do things yourself or just package them yourself, even applesauce, you know, you get those little packages at the store, the little thing of applesauce. I don't know how much it costs because I don't buy it. I have some here because on my Walmart order a month or so ago, they included 2 of them. It probably was meant for somebody else. And so I let Walmart know, they have a chat, and I let them know that I received these, and they said, oh, you can just keep it. So, you know, I am giving it to the grandkids, but that's not something I would buy. And I think that we need to have a frugal mindset when it comes to buying the groceries. Frugal in a way of, are we buying the best, not just price, but the best, well, the best of, is it good for us? And are we being frugal with that money that, to me, God has blessed us with? You know, every morning when we're praying at breakfast, I always thank God for the abundance. You know, Jesus, thank you for abundantly blessing us with meeting all of our needs. And I think we need to be good financial stewards of what we are blessed with. When you just whatever and don't even think about it that way, it's just such a different mindset. And I do think that we need to have extra in the house for in case something happens. We kept having earthquakes last week. They were 3.4, 3.3. It was 4 miles from here. And then there's still further out in the desert, there's been a lot of quakes. And I told my husband, I go, I'm not comfortable with our water supply. I think we need some extra waters just in case, because we live right in the middle of 2 faults, San Andreas over there, San Timoteo back here. And we need extra water on hand. So we did buy some of the big gallons of water just to have on hand. But, you know, we need to have extras on hand in case something happens, in case the power is out, or for us, earthquake. I know some of you live in different parts of the country. I've lived on Guam where we had typhoons, and, you know, we have to board up the windows, and you hear the storm going by, and all the power's out for a day or however many days. And you need to be able to, you know, still feed your family with whatever you have, canned food, things like that. And so we just need to be good stewards of what God has blessed us with. And when you stock your pantry with real ingredients of what you really need, it's amazing what you can cook. And I have felt like I've been wanting to come in and cook more than before, especially when the pantry was, you know, just so disorganized. And this is something that say stocking your pantry this way, or budgeting, all of that. This is something that it might take you baby steps to do, and you don't have to do it all at one time. It's what the POP, progress over perfection. By the way, at the end of this video, well, at the bottom, I'm going to put a link to, she's in her apron. Her name is Kimmy Hughes. She's in Utah, and she always talks about POP, progress over perfection. And I'm going to put a link to a video that she put out this week, because it just really touched me. She's been doing YouTube for a long time, and she's one of the first ones I started watching. And I've learned a lot from her on how to stock a pantry. And, you know, I'm probably old enough to be your mom, but I have no shame. I will learn from anybody, whether it's gardening or stocking a pantry. If they have good wisdom and they've done their research, then why not? You know, let's share, let's help each other, let's grow, and let's stock our pantries well and feed our families well. That is so important. And so, like I said, you don't have to make all these changes all at one time. Even if it's just learning to make your own seasonings, or bake a loaf of bread even just once a week. I know my sister, she was watching a couple of my videos and she goes, I'm so encouraged. She got a bread maker and now she's making bread and she's having fun with that. And she's able to feed her family really well with having good homemade bread. It makes all the difference. You know, I was at Target this weekend getting something, and my daughter had asked, can I please get a loaf of bread for, she was going to make a French toast casserole. And I said, sure. And I couldn't find the right bread while I was there. And I asked the lady that was stocking the shelf in the aisle, where is a certain kind of bread? And she goes, you know, it's around the corner. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I just don't really buy bread because I bake my bread. She goes, you do? She goes, I'm just learning to bake and I haven't got to that yet. And I told her, I said, once you start making your bread, you're not going to want to buy any of this bread. I just didn't make the bread for my daughter because I was running out of time. It was getting late in the afternoon and no time to do that. But you know, when you start feeding your family well, you're going to start feeling better and you're going to feel good about what you're giving them. And you're eating, let's say, less salt, preservatives, all those kinds of things, even dyes, things about like that. We don't need to be ingesting that. We don't need to eat that. Anyway, I can talk a lot. Let me see if I did. Oh, one more thing I wanted before we close out here. Another thing I make for the little granddaughters is these are popsicles. I need to put them back in the freezer. But these are from our smoothie in the morning. A little bit of leftover. It looks like this. And the 3-year-old was here last week. She ate all 3 kind of for her lunch. And I had no problem with that because it's all good for you. It's just some Greek yogurt and fruit. And I put a little beet powder and some green powder in there. And it's delicious and they love it. So I also have these for the big kids. These are, you know, bigger ones. I got this at Home Goods. This one actually came in the granddaughter's little kitchen set, but it works perfect because it's a good size for them. I also have some other square ones of these, but you know, you can make all your own homemade popsicles, especially if you have leftover smoothie, or just blend up fruit, whatever you want to do, you know, for these. So I just urge you to get on the bandwagon of thinking about what you're buying. Is this something that you should buy? Do you need to buy canned beans? Of course you do sometimes. Sometimes we don't have time to can beans all the time ourselves. Sometimes we need to have some beans on hand. I normally just buy the dried ones and cook it myself, whether it's in the slow cooker or the Instant Pot, whatever, or I can them. But learning to cook from scratch, not only will it save you money, you'll feel good. You'll be healthier because it doesn't have the yucky ingredients in there. So I hope you've enjoyed this little talk today with just some ideas of how you can change your buying habits a little bit, and we can all grow together here. I send you love and blessings. Please like and subscribe, and if you don't mind, please put a little emoji, maybe a heart or something down below. I would really appreciate that, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.